Hi, everybody, and thank you for stopping by a Living to Do's channel. We're reviewing Winning Time, episode 4 today. But before I get started, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. And also, you can find me on Fanbase, the new monetized app that is out. You can find me on Fanbase under the same name, Living to Do. So let's get started with the review. This episode was called Who the F is Jack McKinney? So, Jack McKinney was an assistant coach who was asked to be the coach for the Lakers in the final hours because um, the Lakers was working to get Jerry Tartankian, I think his name is, on as the coach, but he was involved with another guy who was killed, and Jerry Bust attended the funeral, and the coach's this man's widow, the widow of this man, slapped Jerry Bust at the funeral, and it seemed that that changed the tide. And Jerry didn't come to the team. We're made to believe that it had something to do with this man's widow having slapped Jerry. That was interesting, and I'm glad that he decided not to come to the team. They're all connected to the mafia, and who needs that? Um, so Jack will be the new coach. In the scene, when they opened up the episode, we see Jerry Buzz. He's at a restaurant with one of his, loose women, and his wife and 4 kids walk in. Uh, they had no idea he was there, and he is fooling around with this chick, and his kids are right there, and uh, his ex-wife goes onto her own table, but Jeannie, she's staring at her dad and his behavior at this table with this loose woman, and she's carried off with the mother, um, wearing decent clothes, behaving, like a decent person, where her dad's at another table with some loose chick. I think that, I don't know. Of course, a child should never see something like that. And Jerry was just wild. He was just wild. Uh, he was so wild. He had photo albums of, I guess what he considered hot chicks with their phone numbers in a photo album. Because they didn't have cell phones back then where you just, swipe right or whatever, look them on up in your phone with that's private, but it's like in a family photo album. It's so tacky. Uh, anyway, this episode we have the team going to training camp in Palm Springs. They show, the team making their way up there. They showed first look at Michael Cooper, who was driven up there by a woman who had car trouble and was pulled off to the side underneath the car trying to fix it, while he is just not even assisting in any way. It's like, what? That made him look wow. He just looked weak there. He didn't know nothing about the car. You had this lovely lady under the car fixing it. Oh my goodness. Um, what kind of man does that? They do introduce the assistant coach, Paul Westhead. Um, I don't know what his story is, but it's pretty much just an introduction. He didn't really do much, so I guess more to come from him. Um, I'm sure that, and that really happened in real life. I just don't know this man. Never even heard of his name before. They do show Pat Riley a little bit. He is at the training camp because he's an assistant announcer, and he's filming footage, I guess, of the practices and things like that. So he's the assistant announcer to Chuck Hearns, the famous announcer Chuck Hearns, which was I didn't even know Pat did that, but I wanted to mention on an earlier review that Chuck Hearns, I don't know why he plays seemingly an important part in negotiating, even discussing who should come to the Lakers. Um, I don't think he had any ownership. I thought he was just an announcer, but he seemed to play more of an importance to the team. They also show Norm at training camp. They're at the team meetings, the first team meeting, and of course, Magic is new. He's a rookie, and he just takes a seat, I guess, towards the front of where the meeting is going to be held. Norm was quick to tell him back to the back. He's no Rosa Parks. Norm is a character. He's so mean. Um, So what's his name? McKinney, Jack McKinney. I guess he must be famous for creating fast break plays, um, consistent fast plays. That kind of was the showtime of it all for the Lakers. That's what I'm assuming. Um, he pointed out to the team how they have a little bit of fast momentum in the games. I guess before these fast play games and the excitement of the showtime, it was very methodical. The plays were boring, uh, and I guess people were used to that. I guess the biggest, some of the big highlights of the game was Magic's skyhook. And Magic didn't agree with this new way of playing. He thought it was street ball. And it creates chaos. And this guy, McKinney, who seems like such a straight leg, he believed that's what the team needed. They gained points, fast points. So I guess I can't believe we have to thank him for that. Um, I guess also as rookies, some of the rookies have to do things for the older players, like Magic, or somebody had to bring Magic orange juice and his newspaper before 6 a.m. in the morning. And Magic was doing it. He was doing it like every day, and Kareem was never satisfied. And Kareem wanted it a certain way, everything a certain way. And I don't know, but he never even really tasted it until the last day of training camp, where Magic freshly squeezed the orange juice and made him taste it, and he said it wasn't bad. But he wouldn't take the newspaper. He gave him a LA Times, and Kareem says this is not a newspaper. What was he looking for? I guess Wall Street Journal. Um, he was very particular. I knew he seemed slow in his methods, but he was really standoffish. I can't even believe he would be in any contact sport. He just seems aloof and doesn't want to be bothered with the rest of the team. McKinney has closed practices. He doesn't even want Jerry West in his practices. He wants it closed off to everybody. And when he does that, um, I guess he's working the team really hard, like mules. And after a while, the team is complaining, and they complain to Jerry West about Jack's style of coaching. They thought it was too much. Jerry spoke to him, and I guess maybe Jack thought maybe if he didn't do what they say, that he might be removed from the team. And he was only an assistant coach, so this was his first time being a head coach. So he basically kind of took that advice reluctantly, and he kind of mixed up um, the style of play, um, and he mixed up the team, where he made the team consist of Kareem, Magic, Norm, Michael Cooper, and Jamal Wilkes. Yeah. Um, my parents know his parents, by the way. Um, um, so things were different. They had Norm and Magic, both point guards, going to be on this team as starters. And with that style of play, all that fast movement, they questioned who was going to be the point guard, and Jack said, "Whoever has the ball." That's interesting. Oh, so we also hear about Jerry Buss's money problems. Um, he's wanting more ideas to utilize the forum to generate income. Uh, we also see his mother tell him, Jesse Buss, that they should put the team in Jerry's wife's name, Joanne Buss, and keep the balloon payment he has to make in his name. This was all this tomfoolery, money business. So she had this, crazy. She could cook the books, I guess. This old lady knows how to cook the books, and Jerry was against it. Um, but his mother thought that was the best route. But he was no to that. Jeannie talks to her grandmother, and she finds out the dad is having money problems. Um, so what Jeannie wants, I guess, had her do somehow, some way, was have um, her ex daughter-in-law sign the papers to make Jerry a silent partner on the Lakers, and the team would be in her name. And I guess Joanne did this because this was helping out the family with the money problems. And I guess she didn't want this to hurt her kids getting their share of any inheritance. She was just trying to keep it so the money would keep flowing. Um, so, what Jeannie did, thinking of ideas, she knows her dad has money problems. Some of the ideas she had for the forum were to create, well, some of the ideas she stemmed from, her ideas stemmed from her dad himself, how he's just like a kid like thing. She wanted to do Disneyland plus the Playboy Club, which he frequent and enjoyed, and like the Oscars, bringing out the stars, the Hollywood stuff. So they're getting ideas for the cheerleaders. They want them to be more dancers and wear skimpy clothes. This is all news to me. I can believe that came from Hollywood, but it sounds like the Laker girls were the first to do this, because the outlines that they had originally were these cheerleaders. They look like middle-aged women in long knit skirts doing cheers in their animated photos that they had laying around in this scene, in this episode. So Jeannie's idea was to keep it Hollywood fun and sexy, and I guess this is the start of those cheer dances and all that stuff, and really making it a sexy type of thing. They also showed the team in practice, like they have split the team up into two teams, the A team and the B team, and a lot of times at first, um, uh, Magic and Norm were on different teams. At one time, before they knew what the final cut would be or the final starting five, uh, Norm had to be on the B team. And he had been playing, messing with Magic. They were, the team was all messing with Magic. And our Magic told when Jack McKinney told Norm he had to be on the B team, and Magic said, "Yeah, B for bench. What you're gonna be sitting on." I'm just happy that Magic got some jabs back, because during the practice, you're a rookie and they're giving him a hard time. They were either throwing the ball too hard, and he stepped up his game and made a lot of that team look bad. And in turn, a lot of those teams, the starters, the OGs, the originals, were mad at him. They wanted to speak up to the coach, and Magic wasn't a part of this discussion. It was just like the OGs, the original team. And Magic stepped in and he said he would talk to them. And they're like, we don't want you speaking for us, because we don't even want you here. And that's how they treat rookies. And uh, they always make them feel like they're less than, and that's not the case. But Magic stepped up. He showed out. He became a starter. I'm sure a lot of them were just had hurt feelings that this young guy came out of nowhere and he took jobs from people. But it was just interesting to see how even Magic went through that and persevered, rose from the ranks, and became a star. Though he did get too big for his britches, he was talking to Cookie while he was in training camp, and she didn't see something his way, and he got mad and basically said, "You're just somebody I used to screw with," and she's like, "Don't ever call me again." Oh, I like how she stood her ground. She was secure in who she was, and she didn't let his fame, his money sway her one way or another. She was friends with him because that's how they were. They were solid friends when there's no money involved. And Magic just comes from people uh, he can tell who's genuine. In fact, he loves everybody, and I guess he had a real connection with her. Um, let's see what else happened there. So basically, I think that was pretty much it for the episode. Whoever is playing Michael Cooper, I know that's not his son, like Norm, the character Norm Nixon's character is played by his son, but I just thought he looked a lot like Michael Cooper. I met him once when I was a little kid in the mall. Took a picture with him. But that's a story for another time, and I'll never show that picture. Anyway, that's it for now. I thank you for listening. Please like, uh, share, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. And also, you can find me on Fanbase, the new monetized app that is out. You can find me on Fanbase under the same name, Living to Do. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Bye.